Welcome back to Ask Amy. I have a question today from Alan, but before I get to the question, I want to mention a couple things that are happening this week. So, tomorrow on Tuesday, August 25th, I'm doing a free webinar called How to Find Peace of Mind in Times of Change and Uncertainty. And completely free. It's at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 o'clock UK. And I'm really looking forward to it. I just feel like there's a lot to say and a lot to share, and a lot has been said and shared in bits and pieces from myself and many people. That is really helpful stuff. But I'm just really looking forward to having an hour with a bunch of you to just kind of lay it out and go deep. And what I want to talk in particular about is two things. One, um, resilience, but not just as a nice word that we all resonate with, but really like how we cannot not be resilient and we just don't see it. Our design, everything in our design is incredibly resilient. We are all incredibly resilient. And it's very easy to miss it because we're looking at the problem. We're looking in another direction, and we have some really simple misunderstandings, like that we aren't resilient and that we need to do something to make ourselves feel better. There's some really simple false beliefs basically kind of running around out there that lead us to miss our resilience. So uh, it's a perfect time for that conversation. So I want to talk deeply about resilience, but also about how this is an opportunity. Like, this time is such an opportunity. And I don't mean even what's happening in the world, but the feelings that we've been feeling, the feeling very shakable by the world being not predictable, the feeling of just being off kilter and not okay and anxious and all of that stuff that I hear from so many people. Um, when things don't kind of go according to plan, to be in the experience of that is a time to see that more deeply. It's not just like, hey, let's all cope through this time and hope everything gets back to normal. I don't see it that way at all. I know in many ways we can want things to be back to how they were. That's great, but we also have the opportunity to grow and see so much through this that leaves us unshakable for next time, because of course there's going to be a next time. Hopefully not another pandemic like this in our lifetimes, but another time when we think we know how things are going to go and we're wrong. I mean, that's going to happen this afternoon. It's going to happen all the time. So the more we can use what we're going through now as a way to see our nature more deeply and really come out seeing our resilience and seeing our health and feeling like, wow, I can handle anything. Because that's what we should be feeling right now. Wow, we can handle anything because we have. So really looking forward to the conversation. I put the link in the description of this, or whatever you call that, in the comments here. So yeah, join me tomorrow, and I hope to see you. And also on Thursday this week, I'm going to be doing a Q&A session here on Facebook, on my Facebook page, about the Little School of Big Change. It starts in September, the fall course, and there's just a lot of questions coming up. So it's going to be very casual, but pop by at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 12 Pacific, 8 UK, and just listen in or share any questions you have, because, yeah, I'm really excited about starting to look toward that. It's only a few weeks away. And man, now more than ever, it's going to be an amazing class. I know it is. So if you have any questions or curiosity, just join me there. Okay, so let's get to Alan's question. So Alan says, I've been around the principles for a couple years now. They've really helped me with anxiety in general, but I have one sticking point that's horrendous when it's bad, and my life is extremely small as a result. After many tests, I now believe it's anxiety related, even though I couldn't put the two together. I sometimes feel like I'm suffocating. My throat feels constricted and my chest tightens. It's a horrible experience, to say the least, which stops me from leaving the house and doing things I once enjoyed. The only thing that seems to make it worse is exercise, even a short walk. Otherwise, it's very random and can happen when I'm not feeling anxious at all. I've come to think of it as just insecure thinking, whether I'm aware it's going on or not, but I really struggle with it. I've read all your books and found them very helpful and listen regularly to your podcasts. So, Alan, I love that I love that you've been helped already in, as you say, in terms of kind of anxiety in general. And I want, this is how this goes, right? We have some anxiety. We look in a direction to see it in a new way and to get some help. And we do. You have, right? You've seen some new things. What you've seen has helped you with the anxiety in general. And what you're describing now is just another costume that anxiety's wearing. It's it sounds like you've been checked out by doctors. I mean, and it's a very, very classic, very, very common symptom of anxiety. So it's no different. Now, the specifics of it feel different to you. I get that. But it's just anxiety popping up in a slightly different way, which can feel like, oh gosh, why does it keep following me when you're in it? Because I've been there. I know. It's like you feeling anxious and then you think you're good and then it shows up in a different way and you think, what the heck? Like, why now it's coming at me in all these different ways. But I want you to see even that in a different light. You you are onto it. Like how whatever it used to show up like, whatever anxiety used to show up like, and then you saw a lot around it, that's kind of changed, or it just isn't so scary anymore, or you're just not as duped by it. And that's amazing, Alan. That's amazing. You've seen so much around it. So because our mind is so smart and it has such an agenda to to be really efficient and kind of give us what it thinks we need, it finds other avenues. And so I always think it's really kind of hopeful and kind of good news, even though I know it doesn't feel like it, when anxiety changes forms or depression changes forms or a habit or addiction changes how it shows up, because it is showing us, oh wow, I've seen a lot through this and now my mind's scrambling to try to bring it up in a different way. So that's actually kind of good news. So I really want you to see, though, Alan, that that's all this is. Because I suspect, I could be wrong, but I suspect that what you've seen around anxiety in general has been super helpful. But now your mind is saying, this is different. This, this is, I didn't even think it was anxiety. Now they tell me it is. Okay, fine, but it's different. I can't breathe, and my chest does this, and this is happening. I can hear it in your question. And it's what a mind does. This is totally what minds do. Minds will give you something and say, "Oh, look how it's different," and give a whole, like make it a whole exception. They'll put all kinds of different labels and words and stuff around it and say, "Oh, that's not at all what you felt before. This is new and it's special." And that's just your mind trying to kind of help things stand out. Our mind labels and categorizes and talks about everything. So it's doing that here. And this is just another thing that looks like an exception to what you've seen about anxiety already. But really, Alan, consider that it's not and just see what that does for you. So, literally, everything you've seen that's ever been helpful around anxiety in general applies here because this is anxiety in general. Your mind's telling you this is different. It's not. It's not. Or I know it's not, but you sit with that and you see if you can consider, okay, this is just isn't how it used to show up. It used to show up in these other ways, but all I'm feeling, no matter how scary and uncomfortable, and I know it is, especially in the beginning, it's just a big wave of energy. That's all anxiety is. It's a peak of energy, and it's a peak of energy that we get really afraid of. So it's a wave of energy, totally safe, totally human. This is just, we're always having these waves of energy move through us. I mean, it's the definition of being a human being. So this totally normal, safe, healthy wave of energy moving through you, and then your mind jumps in and says, oh no, this is different. Why does my chest feel this way? What's going on? And then it turns into something that feels really horrible. Energy plus story. That's what all feelings are. Energy, totally normal and human, plus a story, and that's what gives it its, that's what leads us to push it away and resist against it and push against it and fear it, versus just if it's a wave of energy with a nice story, we just let it through. If you're feeling excited or happy or peaceful, that's also a wave of energy. But the story around it is, ooh, this is good. So no problem. So that's why it's so fleeting. That's why those feelings are so fleeting. When you have a different wave of energy and your mind says, oh no, not okay, there's all kinds of resistance and focus and pushing, and then it's a whole different experience that feels very long and very uncomfortable. So I think you know this, Alan, but I'm glad you asked the question, and I'm glad that you have this opportunity to back up and just kind of see it again. Like, this is not, or what if you try it for yourself? What if this is nothing special? It's nothing, it's no exception. It's not different. It's just the way anxiety is showing up right now. And that your mind is telling these stories about, oh, see, I can't even exercise, then it happens. But what if you could just welcome it in? It's coming through, moving, changing. There is no problem. There is no threat. It's coming through energy, making a big peak within you, moving out. It will always work that way. When you kind of take a look under the hood in that way and feel a little comfortable with it, around it, and know, okay, I've dealt with this before, I can handle it, it's just energy, it's safe. The more you see about those things, the more your mind's going to say, oh, just like it did with the other anxiety, it's going to say, oh, he's on to this, okay, moving on. And eventually it doesn't keep finding new ways to show up. It's like you just see something deeply about it, and it's like our mind kind of sees, okay, I'm not fooling him here anymore, let's move on to other things. So I hope it's helpful. Really kind of consider that it's no different, and that everything you've seen is helpful here. And yeah, just remember that it's safe, and keep looking in this direction. I know sometimes when we've been around this and we've read all the books and listened to all the podcasts and heard from various teachers, it can kind of feel like, okay, I'm at the end and it hasn't helped me yet. But there's no end. Just when we think we've seen all there is to see, we have an issue like this that shows us, oh, maybe there's a deeper way that I can see what experience is and see how healthy and okay I really am beyond experience. So this is kind of like an opportunity to deepen in what you do see. And trust me, no matter how deeply we see things, there's always more to see. So thank you, Alan, for sending your question. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope to see you guys on the webinar tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.